Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to
Why Greece moved towards a 13-hour workday?
Across
what
Europe,
was
many
it
countries are
before?
experimenting with shorter 4-day work
I feel like 8 hours, no?
Oh.
5 times 8, 40, yeah.
But that's for what do you call that?
What?
Because there's some jobs that you do more than 8 hours.
Yeah, but the standard.
This is like for the average.
I think this is for the standard,
for
yeah.
the standard. Okay.
weeks in order to boost productivity and improve work-life balance. Greece, however, is moving in the opposite direction. This week, its parliament
so
passed
it's
a
moving
controversial
to a
labour bill allowing for
13
13-hour
day, so
workdays,
you could
following
cut off
last year's
Friday.
introduction of 6-day working weeks in certain industries. This move sparked nationwide strikes and fierce criticism,
What happens on
especially
Friday
given that,
then?
contrary to the stereotype, Greece
They still have like, because if it's the average, I'm thinking also service industry. No, is average or no?
I don't know. Let's watch the video.
already work some of the longest hours in the entire EU. So in this video, we'll break down Greece's recent labour reforms and explain why the idea that simply working harder than everyone else will drive an economic recovery is unlikely to succeed. And always the fall of the
I
junta,
thought most
successive
people in Greece, they start their day like at 10.
No, that's just what social media tells you.
But that's the impression I have. So
Yeah,
then
but
10.
it's fake.
So then it
Fake news.
ends.
Greek governments relied heavily on
And that's
borrowing.
exactly what I say when, all these people, Americans go to Europe and like, oh, life is so chill, you don't need to work much. Well, yeah, right.
And by the time that Greece joined the Eurozone in 2001, its debt had already reached 97% of GDP, one of the highest figures in the world at the time. The drop in borrowing costs after Greece joined the euro encouraged its governments to borrow more, and its debt to GDP ratio was above 100% when the global financial crisis hit in 2008. Credit markets then froze up, triggering a sovereign debt crisis that, combined with the ruthless austerity imposed on Greece by the IMF and the EU, ruined the Greek economy for over a decade. Despite multiple bailouts, Greek GDP collapsed by over 25% between 2009 and 2014. The unemployment rate reached a staggering 28%. Its debt burden continued to rise to over 200%
Can you go
of
back
GDP.
to the
And its
first graph? Go back. This is the GDP.
What are you trying to see?
Because I want to understand the rise after.
COVID,
Because-
post-COVID.
GDP of Greece at constant prices in billions of euros. Okay.
It just shows that the economy started to recover a little bit, after certain measures were taken.
GDP per capita remained well below
Which,
pre-crisis levels.
I
However,
heard that their economy is doing pretty good from some parts, but in other parts I see here, like the average day-to-day person is still struggling.
But that's everywhere though.
Yes. So
Similar
is this
stuff.
the introduction of this is like a compromise for the government? In what way to compensate for that? 'Cause
I think they need to make up because they still owe the money. I think it's just they got their debt. What's the word? Restructured. Restructured. Yeah, I think the debt was restructured, so they still owe the money. It's just I guess they don't have to pay it back as quickly or whatever. I'm not exactly sure. So I think the work more is basically generate more taxes and something like that. I would think so.
in the past couple of years, the Greek economy has staged what looks like a tentative comeback. Between 2021 and 2024, Greece's economic growth outpaced the euro area average, helping Greece to reduce its debt to GDP ratio from 209.4% in 2020 to 163.9% in 2023. These stats gave way to headlines about how Greece was finally back, and were touted as proof that the austere reforms imposed on Greece during the 2010s were paying off, albeit behind schedule. But dig into the figures, and it quickly becomes clear that most of this growth has actually come mainly from labour-intensive sectors like tourism, hospitality, and food services, which has dragged down average productivity, and with it, average wages. A recent study by LSE titled Greece's Cafe Economy found that between 2009 and 2023, employment in tourism-related industries rose 87%, while gross value added by those industries grew by only 11%, meaning that more people were working for relatively less output. Over the same time period, labour productivity fell by 16%, and real wages collapsed by 26 to 35%, with declines reaching 60% in tourism. Wages were dragged down further by wage freezes, cuts to the minimum wage, and a weakening of collective bargaining agreements, all conditions part of the austerity measures implemented by international
Cuts to
creditors.
the minimum wage. So what, they lowered the minimum wage? Who does that? And prices of everything goes going up. How do you lower the minimum wage? I'm
Trying to
confused.
rationalize
Yeah, I
that.
don't understand what's the rationale.
Today, wages in Greece are among the lowest in the EU, and the country also has the highest proportion of low wage earners in the bloc. Low wages mean that Greeks have to work extraordinarily long hours to make ends meet. According to OECD data, Greece ranked 5th worldwide in terms of annual working hours in 2023, behind only Colombia.
Maybe introduction to new jobs are not like in like competitive wages. They're just lower wages in general.
Maybe, I don't know.
Mexico, Costa Rica, and Chile. In fact, 1 in 5 Greeks works more than 45 hours a week, the highest rate in the European Union, according to Eurostat data published earlier this month. Despite these long hours, a 2024 report by the European Committee of Social Rights found that nearly half of households can't afford basic necessities, and the country is second to last in the EU when it comes to purchasing power. And those who don't take on extra work have left the country entirely.
Kind of similar here in the States. You gotta work 2 jobs for a lot of people to afford basic necessities, so.
In search of better job opportunities and wages, which has left a severely depleted working population in the country. From 2021 to 2022, over 1 million working age people left the country. Of that total number, over 796,000 left during the years of the economic crisis, and more than 283,000 after the crisis had ended. This massive exodus of people, combined with a fertility rate of just 1.3, one of the lowest in Europe, means that by 2070, Greece's population could shrink by as much as 25%, way above the EU average of 4%, which in turn will put a massive strain on the Greek welfare state. Since coming into power in 2019, the centre-right government led by Prime Minister Mitsotakis has sought to tackle Greece's chronic productivity slump and labour shortages. To do so, it has overhauled the labour market with reforms aimed at boosting flexibility, modernising work regulations, and bringing undeclared labour into the formal economy. His government introduced a digital labour card to monitor working hours and overtime, raised the minimum wage several times, though increases haven't kept pace with inflation.
That can be the issue too as well. It's not really documenting like all the real money that's being made in Greece, because there's a lot of like money that's made under the table. So it's just capturing the surface of what you see that's being reported. So they can be in better positions, but it doesn't reflect that.
You guys did say that there's a lot of under the table money in Greece. Yeah.
Expanded parental leave, formally recognized remote work and the right to disconnect, and reduced social security contributions to make hiring cheaper for employers. In 2024, Greece also implemented a 6-day working week for certain industries, allowing employees to work up to 48 hours a week instead of 40, with a 40% wage premium on the 6th day. Then, just last week, Parliament improved and...
That's not bad.
Here you get double.
Double?
Isn't it?
Overtime? 1.5.
Yeah, 1.5.
Yeah, 1.5. So 50% increment. Not bad. I'm not mad at that. I thought it was just like, straight up work without no pay increase. Also, to be fair, I do think it should be optional, not mandatory. I think as long as it's optional and for people to just have that option, but not be forced to take that option, I think that's
I don't
okay.
see why people would be forced to take that option.
I don't know. I'm just saying. Like,
if anything, I feel like they would keep you from doing overtime. They keep you just before. So
I don't know. But extra. I think as long as you have the option, you don't want to take it, you don't want to. But if you want to, you can make extra money with like that. I don't have a problem with that necessarily.
Another bill, the Fair Work for All law, which authorizes 13-hour workdays in limited circumstances. This measure caps overtime at 150 hours per year, or roughly 37 days annually, meaning that the standard 40-hour week technically still applies. The reform is largely aimed at the services and tourism sectors, allowing employees to extend hours during the busy summer season instead of hiring additional staff. But this bill is contentious to say the least. Supporters argue the change will benefit workers by ensuring that they're properly compensated for overtime that already happens informally. But unions, left-wing opposition lawmakers, and labour groups strongly disagree. In response, Greece was gripped by nationwide strikes last week as unions demanded the bill's withdrawal, with critics pointing to 2 main problems. First, labour experts warn that the law effectively legalises overwork and labour violations, turning widespread unpaid overtime into state-sanctioned exploitation rather than addressing its root causes, namely weak collective bargaining and stagnant wages.
I can see that. That's very different for Europe, because I would think in Europe, you guys are not really about doing overtime. Here in America, if you say overtime, the people say yes, because they don't take vacations. But if that's the mindset that's different in Europe...
Second, while the Labour Minister insists that no one can be forced to work 13-hour days or be fired for refusing, in practice, enforcement is minimal. Greece has weak workplace inspection systems and a limited tradition of labour oversight, leaving workers vulnerable.
Yeah, I was saying, sorry guys, we got a little interrupted. I was saying, I feel like people should have a choice though if they want to work. I don't necessarily believe that, government should not allow you to work if you choose to work. That's kind of silly to me. And if you should have an opportunity to work, and especially if you work in overtime, get 1.4 in this case or 1.5 here in the States pay. I don't have a problem with that. As long as government or the employer does not force you to do overtime, as long as it's an option, I think that's okay.
To dismissal under the pretext of low productivity. So, will a 6-day working week actually help the Greek economy? While it might create some nominal increase in GDP and maybe tax intake, the evidence suggests that it's probably not a great idea, all things considered. First, long hours increase the risk of burnout and health problems, which in the long run will weaken the workforce and reduce productivity rather than improving it. Second, harsher working conditions are likely to drive even more young people abroad in search of better pay and work-life balance, worsening Greece's ongoing brain drain, and will probably also make it harder for families to have children, exacerbating the demographic crisis. In this light, perhaps the Greek government would be better off focusing on improving productivity rather than just getting Greeks to work ever longer hours. Before you go, we've just announced our new...
But how do you improve productivity?
Use the comments.
I don't know how you improve productivity. That's the thing. How do you improve it? I don't know. I don't have the answer for that.
Workers are productive workers.
Maybe. What a great way to kick out more young working people from the country. Definitely a 200 IQ move right there. When overwork becomes policy, burnout becomes culture. Greece is risking long-term well-being for short-term numbers. Working longer doesn't necessarily mean being more productive.
I guess maybe they want more jobs that, they pay more, they're more appealing. It's not the average job. We saw that one person was studying oceanography, and she said that she had to leave in order to use it.
I don't know. Again, based on this, I understood that it is optional that you can work more, and now you're just basically guaranteed to get paid overtime. I don't find that problematic at all.
I think because we're used to here in the States for that option to be there.
Yeah, to me, that's... if the person wants to work, why you should
But the thing is that what the people want to do?
A lot of people don't want to, but some might. Some might want to work there.
Because if they did already want to, then businesses wouldn't have to hire, additional workers. What? They would just have the workers they already have.
But I think the idea was they couldn't even work over 40 hours. Now they can. I think that's the thing.
But did they want to work
over
40
maybe
hours?
If they worked over 40, they wouldn't get 1.4. Now they're getting 1.4. I think, because otherwise, why even make this law?
Something like this requires a poll. The stats, like, what do people want? Because honestly, at the end of the day, they put these people in power.
To me, it's very simple. If it's an option, it should be there. If this is government is forcing, basically, like, not the government, but the employers forcing you to work, 48 hours a week, then that's a problem. No, I don't think that's right. But if the 8 hours is there on the table for you to take, if Christmas is coming and you need money to buy gifts and you say, oh, this week I want to do the extra 8, why not? Why not? You should have that option to work the 6th day. To me, that's perfect sense. So I don't, unless I'm misunderstanding how it is, or not misunderstanding, maybe they didn't go into detail like how it is applied. Again, if an employer can force you to work, no, that's a problem. I don't like that at all. This should be still 40 hours. But the extra 8 hours on the table,
this one.
As a Greek living in Greece, I can say one thing that really sticks out to me. Imagine the price of a traditional street food double exactly in 5 years, from 2.5 to 5 euros, while the wage is the same. I know guys like you in Europe, in Greece, feel this, oh, this is bad. It's the same everywhere. Same here. We feel the same exact thing. So you're sitting there thinking, oh, Greece is bad. It's just bad everywhere. Like, it's not, nowhere is better than...
And I think no one has a solution, so they're trying.
Exactly. The grass is always greener on the other side. It's not. It's just not.
People don't have right to complain.
No, you can complain, but it's not unique to Greece. Like, same here in Miami too. Like, I was just saying in one of the videos you've done, price of coffee. I literally used to buy coffee $4.92. Now, last time I bought it maybe 2-3 months ago. I go to buy now. It's $7.24 in a span of like 2 months. That's 2 months. So imagine going back exactly 5 years ago, it's probably doubled. I don't remember the price what it was of coffee 5 years ago. So it's the same exact thing. It's no different. It's everywhere. Like, it's just bad in the whole world right now. Everybody's struggling with the same issues. Like, where literally there is these videos we do like, oh, why are people in Greece or like something, I don't remember the title exactly, but like, oh, why are Greeks struggling or something like that. And then the same channel literally has like every country. Why are Croats struggling? Why are Serbs struggling? Why are the Dutch struggling? It's like, and when you watch those videos, it's literally you watching the same video, you just replace the country, the culture, you know. It's the same thing everywhere. It is bad all over the world.
Okay, guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. Forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord. As always, share as much kindness as possible.